Hey everybody, what's up? It's the Duke here coming at you once again for a new episode of the Weekend Wrapup. I know it's been a while. But if you'll note behind me, there's been a bit of a change of venue. So if you're a regular watcher of the show, subscriber to my particular brand of nonsense, you'll know that we've had workers here at the house doing stuff. They've actually been converting our basement into a mother-in-law suite. So that's done now. And basically they got to a point where there was so many construction materials and so much noise in the house and just goings on that through the garage, which was where I was working and doing this stuff before, there just wasn't enough space. I couldn't work my process. So basically after the mother-in-law suite got done and the garage got cleaned up a little bit, instead of, going back to my workstation there, I just packed it all up and brought it upstairs, which is this is the room where the in-laws used to be, but now they're in the basement. So this room's free. So why not turn it into a little workshop? So that's why I've been away. Tell the truth, it's also mental health stuff that I haven't had the right mindset to really be creative. So we're getting over that. So I've actually done some stuff in the past week. This week, in addition to kind of moving my entire workshop to a different part of the house, I have been working on actually my first commission, which is super cool. So these are just tests. These aren't the actual commission, but it's a two-tone die, as you can see. And I don't know if the camera can pick this up. Probably not. But it's a commission for someone who works with the theater, drama. And so the if you can't really see it because of the indentations of the pips. It's the comedy and tragedy masks. It's a little 3D resin print that I found online, printed out. Well, first I reduced it quite a bit because the stock size would not fit in a D6. So reduced it quite a bit, printed it out. It's made of resin, so the dice are still balanced, Kyle. Printed it out, put it in did half a pour with the blue there, and then waited for it to excuse me, allergies, goodness, sip of coffee. Waited for it to cure enough to where it wouldn't sink into the resin, at least not too much, but not enough that it was had a smooth, unvariegated top, or whatever you want to call it. Because one thing about resin is that liquid resin does not like to stick to cured resin. It will stick to rough sanded resin or not fully cured resin. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to just basically partially cure it, because I didn't want to demold it, sand it, and then put it back in there, because that would have been silly. So I just waited. I think I waited 3 hours, 3 hours on that, and it got to the perfect stage where I could just drop the masks on there, and then do the next kind of. I can't really see this. This isn't a clear pour. It's kind of sparkly. Just messing around with pigments and inks and things like that. So anyway, so that's the test. Test was successful. So armed with that knowledge, there's actually one other test I want to do because I haven't done. Until this point, I hadn't done an inclusion, so this is very first inclusion. I wanted to test inclusions. I also wanted to test 3D printing my own dice. I know there's dice files. A little bit of a fit's going on. I know there's dice files out there, 3D dice files that are pre-made, or blank. You can add your own numbers, whatever. An idea I had was to take the masks and the high face of the die be the comedy mask, and the one be tragedy. So I kind of wanted to, probably just with the D6, because D6s are relatively simple. I wanted to take one of those and make my own in 3D modeling program, and then actually print it on the resin printer, and then take that, kind of sand it, polish it, and see if it works okay. I feel like making a complete set of dice from more or less scratch should be more than just taking existing dice molds and doing pretty things to them. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. It seems like more work though, because I would have to, instead of just taking one of my existing molds, printing out some of these little masks, which I think this mask took 7 minutes. Do it for you in 6 minutes. So, printing, what's the standard set of dice? 7? 8? I don't know, however many it would be. Printing, half a dozen of these wouldn't be, what would that take, 35 minutes? So that's not a big deal, and then, it's just a 2-level pour, so I would have to, do a pour, and then 3 hours later do another pour. So it's a little more complex than just doing a single color or a mixture or whatever, an injection. But actually designing a whole new set of dice, printing those dice, sanding, polishing those dice, making molds of those dice, then doing a pour, seems like more steps. Seems like it would be worth more money. So maybe before I go to all that trouble, maybe I will think about that, ruminate on that, and if I determine that it would be a considerable amount more, then just check with my commissioner and be like, hey, what do you think? Here's the options. Option A costs X. Option B costs Y. We'll see. So that's one thing I did this week. The other thing I did this week is I mixed up some forbidden ecto cooler. I'd never used the greenest green, loveliest green. I don't know, the Culture Hustle is the website. Basically, the guy that runs it, he's an artist and works with pigments and stuff like that. And so he made a set of, so it's sort of the primary colors. So it's pink, blue, yellow, and green. And it's the bluest blue, pinkest pink, yellowiest yellow. And I think instead of the greenest green, I think it's the loveliest green or something. One of them is not the est, whatever. It's the loveliest. I don't know why he chose that. Whatever. But that's the green. The greenest green. I hadn't used it. I'd used the pink a lot, and I'd used the blue. Still haven't used the yellow. I feel like yellow is an acquired taste. So everybody's got a favorite color. It's somebody's favorite color. So we'll see what I'll do with the yellow. Maybe you know what? I bet it would mix well with the others to make Like, what if I made like an orange? Anyway, so I mixed up a batch of the green resin because I had some molds for some custom dice that I commissioned a while ago from JayDot. Throw the link to Culture Hustle JayDot down below. I had a couple of custom dice and one remade dice die that I had requested and gotten the molds for, but I'd never made new masters. So I had like the resin masters, the UV resin masters, but those don't mold well with platinum cure silicone. So I need to make epoxy resin masters and then make my permanent molds. Anyway, so I hadn't poured those. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a pour. I'm gonna use this green. I'm gonna make some new molds, make some new masters, and then I had some left over. Well, as you can see, I still had some left over. So this is cured now, but I had some left over for, and you'll note these are pressure pots here, still pressurized. So this is where the new masters are, but these molds you'll see outside the pressure pot. What's going on? Well, there's a movement. I think I've talked about this before. There's a movement among the dice making community that says, "Oh, well, you don't need a pressure pot. What are you doing? It's pressure pot's a completely unnecessary piece of tech." And it's like, is it though? Is it though? I do have a vacuum degasser. So basically, these terms I'm using, if you're not familiar, mixing up resin, mixing up anything, but especially a viscous fluid like epoxy resin, introduces air. Air makes bubbles. Bubbles generally aren't pretty in a finished product, in a solid casted product, right? So the idea behind the pressure pot is that by creating that pressure, it basically atomizes the bubbles. It doesn't force them to the surface, but it makes them so small that you can't see them. A vacuum degasser, which is down here, operates on the opposite principle by sucking the air out, by creating a vacuum, essentially negative pressure, to force the air to the surface and out, and kind of suck all that air out. So what I did with these, with actually the stuff I put in the pressure pot too, but specifically these, is after I mixed up the resin, I put the cup in my vacuum degasser, pulled out the air, then poured my resin into my molds, then put the masters in the pressure pot just cause, and then poured these and left them out because I want to know, is a pressure pot necessary? I don't know. I think so, but we'll see. So these are fresh. I poured these. Did I pour these? I think I poured these about 4:30 yesterday in the afternoon. So it is now, it's 9 o'clock. So it's been 17 hours, roughly. So it should be good to go. So live unmolding on video. Is it live or is it Memorex? Millennials out there like, what's Memorex? So let's see. I mean, it looks. I do see a bubble though. I see a bubble. You can't really see it. It looks good other than that, but it's like other than that. Flashing. Excuse me. Let's see. See how this goes. Oh my god. Okay, you know what? There we go. So, I like the way it looks. And I can't see any bubbles other than that one right there. So that's a problem. Disappointing. Let's try the other one. Shall we? I know I'm running over time, but I just want to hit you with this. So this one actually looks pretty good. Which is surprising. A little surprised, to be honest. Of course, the funny... Oh, that's a nice piece of flashing. Well, funny, haha. But the kind of funny thing about the folks that are like, you don't need a pressure pot. It's like, okay, well, you use a vacuum degasser, right? Because you ain't getting flawless pours without something to get rid of the air. Like, no, don't front. So this one looks, honestly, oh wait, nope, there's two little bubbles. Yeah, the camera's not gonna pick it up, but there's two tiny bubbles. Between the pips. God dang it. So, it could be that I didn't degas hard enough, long enough. Phrasing. That's not the right top. Could be that I didn't do it long enough. Could be that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. I wish that the no pressure pot folks were, I don't know, more forthcoming. Or maybe they are. I don't know. I've never actually talked to them. I've just seen the discourse. So I don't know. But you know what? Maybe this isn't the last time. Maybe I'll give this another shot. Because this is the one thing about this resin. I've actually got a couple of different resins that I have open right now, and I know I'm running out of time. There's one thing. I've been away. I don't know. You miss me? Probably not. One thing with the two resins I've got. So one of them has I think it's like a 30-minute working time before it kind of gets too gummy to pour well. And the other one I have only has like a 15-minute working time, because it's intended to do, big pours like river tables or countertops or whatever people like to put resin on and have it a big surface. So that one, because you're intended to kind of spread it out, can't use a pressure pot. You do a very thin, shallow pour, so that way it kind of naturally degasses itself. Not great for making dice unless you're going to put it in a pressure pot or degas it. But the tricky thing with that 15-minute working time is that, just to get the bubbles out of that in the vacuum chamber is like 10-12 minutes. And the 15-minute working time includes the mix time, which is at least a couple of minutes to get a good combination. So, and this was the 30-minute working time, and maybe I just didn't leave it in the vacuum pot as long as I should have. I don't know. We'll see. But so that's what I've been working on. That's the week in review. looking forward to the week ahead. I think I'm gonna do some serious thinking about this commission, and I really feel like it would be extra work. It would be making dice and molds that I wouldn't necessarily make again, because I don't know how much demand for theater themed dice is. Who knows? Maybe there's untapped demand there. But it would, at the very least, it would be extra work that I wouldn't be normally doing. So, I think that might be more money. If they're willing to put it up, hey, fine, that's cool. It's I live to serve. But yeah, I think I'll connect in with my commissioner and just see what they think. And then continue working on that, finish up these masters, and then since this works so well, this inclusion, I kind of want to do the dice with it, the blank dice, blank dice within a dice. I don't know, whatever. So I have a set of those. I've just never made I molded the UV resin masters, created epoxy masters, haven't made my new silicone molds. So maybe I'll take those resin epoxy resin masters and make some molds with those and play around with those. So that's looking forward to the week ahead. Question for you all. And now that it's September, so it's coming up on fall weather. Are you a fan of pumpkin spice, or do you want pumpkin spice to die in a fire? Me personally, I make a mean pumpkin pie, so this is not pumpkin pie spice coffee, but I think it's delicious. I would drink it all year round. That's just me. But have a great rest of your Friday. Have an awesome weekend. Until next time, peace.